for business opportunities. With her background in sales and coaching, she helps pros like veterans break down options, build self-awareness, and find that deal biz fit that aligns their skills and passions. She's hosted sessions and webinars for transitioning service members, making franchising and entrepreneurship feel doable and exciting. We'll kick off with her advice and see how it goes. So welcome, ma'am. Sorry, I've stumbled a little there at the end of the day. Did I manage to get it all? Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think you covered most of it. I did serve in the military, so I believe that was said. I am an 8-year active duty Navy veteran. Um, I am the kind of person who loves to learn a lesson the hard way. So not only could I speak Arabic and French and had my bachelor's degree, but I enlisted undesignated. If you were
Woo.
not in the Navy, that means you do not have an MOS. You go into the military with no job. So I like to think that I have a fair amount of experience and some good stories to tell. Now, like I said, I was in the Navy. I ended up becoming a gunner's mate, and I made it to E5, and I was getting ready to put my officer candidate school package in, and unfortunately, I did end up getting medically retired. Was not planned. It was a little bit of it was a little jarring, if I'm going to be frank. So I'm kind of telling my story to all of you in reverse. So I had about 30 days to get out of the military. All I knew was firearms, bombs, ammunition driving, things of that nature. And while I love firearms, I grew up shooting competitively. It wasn't really my field of interest. I didn't want to be, I don't know, a firearms instructor or a safety course trainer. Oh, I forgot we had a chat, a GM who can speak multiple languages. Bear with me, it's been a few years, so my vocabulary is horrendous, but I can watch a good soap opera or two. Um, so they gave me a medical review board. I ended up getting out of the military, and by the good grace of God himself, I started at Operation New Uniform 3 days later. I learned almost every lesson that we teach in class in our program. So, what ONU is a career readiness program. Now, there are a lot of us out here in the veteran space, and we all, are the best. I might be a little bit biased, but I'm a big fan of ONU. And we are kind of known for our curriculum. So when I first started here at Operation New Uniform, they said our training helps veterans and it's based off of a corporate sales training. So as somebody who, was a gunner's mate, I was in the military, I didn't really understand how corporate sales and veterans and military spouses made sense. Like, what are we teaching us with corporate sales? So I had the honor of going through the Sandler Corporate Sales Training Program. That is what our curriculum is based off of. And in that program, I will say that course is one of the best courses I ever sat through as somebody with no experience in sales and no desire to be in sales. What that course does and what our course gives to veterans and military spouses and active duty service members looking to transition out of the military is confidence, is, ways to communicate as you're going through your networking situations or your interviews. That's stressful. I don't know how many of you are like me, and public speaking or really just socializing in any way can be very stressful, especially when your future is on the line. Some of us have families, some of us have children that we have to take care of or, provide a life for. And if you are, just for an example, if you're an O4 in the military, you're making a pretty decent salary. Now it's time to get out. How do you find something to match that quality of life? Do you have to match that quality of life, or could you go scoop ice cream and spend time with your family? Maybe that's what you want to do. So as you come through our course, we're going to kind of help our students understand what it is that they want. Kind of at the end of the day, you have options. Do you want to spend time with your family? Are you less, promotion focused, less, it's my career, I'm focused on that? And if you are, that's great too. We just need to know so we know how to help our students. a lot of people getting out of the military don't always know what it is that they want to do or what they can do. You know, like I said, I was a gunner's mate for 8 years. So it's like, what skills could I possibly translate into, the civilian sphere or the business workforce? And we're kind of here to help pull those out for our students. Um, so yeah, a little bit of just kind of we start with, what is it that you want? What are you looking for? If you tell me that, hey, Olivia, I'm really interested in this position at CSX, and you have to be on the phone all the time, you're traveling a ton, but you told me that you don't want to travel and you hate being on the phone, we're gonna revisit that job description together. So we are a career readiness program, and I say that lightly. Let's see. What else do we? Oh, I left out the two best parts of our program. So in the beginning, bear with me, we do focus on a little bit of the softer side of transition, is kind of how I like to approach it. We check in with our students and kind of see where their mindset is at. A lot of our students have been in the military for 20, even 30 years. They joined at 16 or 15, or they lied and they joined when they were 14, and they have never known anything else but the military. They're scared. They have accolades, they have ribbons, they have awards, and not all of those translate out here. So, how do you take that pride? How do you take that honor that you felt during your service and now it kind of feels like it's gone? So really checking in on kind of that mental state, we have our identity, we have our roles, and they are not the same thing. Our identity is not impacted by our roles. I can come in here every day to work. I can mess up my Excel spreadsheets. I can email the wrong person. I can, forget to say the right thing at a networking event. But at the end of the day, I'm still a 10 out of 10. I might not be the best that day, but overall, you are still a 10 out of 10. And it might sound cheesy, but that is what we tell our students is at the end of the day, uniform, awards, ribbons, take them all off. You are still a 10 out of 10, and you have so much value to bring to the business world or to bring to your next career. So really focusing on, of course, all of the usuals, LinkedIn, resumes, interview skills, but really checking in with our students at home as well. So I'd say that's a brief recap. Does anyone have any questions yet?
So what do you think is a key starting point to, I mean, who is the veteran you think is the best fit for your program?
Oh, that's a tricky question.
I tried this.
I would say the veteran who is looking for a career. Now, we do not do job placement. We do not guarantee employment. We do have resources and organizations who do those things. We are looking for people who are ready to jump into their next career. Now, this might sound contradictory. The first veteran, the person who wants to get into their career, they're a lawyer or they want to be a lawyer. They're going to law school. They're 3 months from graduating. They've done their certificates. They know what they want to do. All right, come on in, get in the class. Veteran number two, they have no idea what they want to do. They don't know what they can do. They don't know where to start. They don't know what a CEO is. That person is also welcome in our class. We do really recommend an honorable discharge, but of course, if you have a general or an other, those are kind of workable. But I would say that is one of our biggest requirements is just, if you are ready to kind of take the dive, if you are at the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to start applying to positions here in the next year, 6 months, we try to keep our students not too far out. So if you are active duty, you can join our program. We do try to keep it within 6 months of separating or retiring, just so, the knowledge is fresh in your mind. But I will say there's a really cool thing about our program is that when you graduate, we don't just kind of kick our students out and say, hey, good luck, thanks for coming through the program. We stick with them, whether they want us to or not. That's a lie.
Just
If you tell
familiar.
us, if you say don't call us, I promise I won't call. But we do follow up. So we've had students come back after, 5 or 6 years, resume in hand, like, oh, I'm ready to switch positions or I'm ready to, get into a completely new field. Come back. So when our students graduate, I typically will send an email that next day. What are our next steps? Where are you applying? What are your companies of interest? What are your fields of interest? And a lot of our students are kind of in a training or education phase. So we love that too. If you're working on your PMP or if you're in school, those students can come through as well.
So what does a typical day in this program look like? So person shows up day one, what's it look like?
Ooh, great question. So I have three answers for that. So if you are coming through an in-person class, our in-person classes are located in Jacksonville, Tampa, and we are looking to expand into San Antonio, Texas in 2027. So keep that on your radar. But those are our in-person classes. So you will come to our office 8:30 to 3:30, Monday through Thursday for 2 weeks. During those class periods, you are going to, of course, learn our curriculum. There is a lot of role playing, a lot of communication skill building. We have a ton of guest speakers for our class. So you'll come in, we're going to tell you we love you. We're going to give you, the background on our program and things like that. And you become part of the ONU family. So, sorry. So you come in, you'll come through class. We do have a lunch. Every now and then we do lunch and learns. So we will have companies of interest that are interested in hiring veterans, active duty military spouses, and they will come talk to our students about CSX or Boeing or Bank of America, some of those, very veteran friendly organizations. So I would say the morning part is usually kind of the curriculum based stuff. Then we have lunch or lunch and learn, and then the afternoon is usually kind of like a practice session of practicing some of the skills that our students are learning. Um, it is a busy day. It is a lot to go over, but it's a pretty cool program. I will say that. So that's our in-person one. For that, we do have an in-person graduation. Those kind of serve as a networking event too. So our students will graduate, they walk across the stage, and as soon as they graduate, we open up the event for networking. So time to put all of those skills to use. So that is our in-person program. Now, we have a military spouse and an online program. Both of them are run in the same format. So they are about 5 weeks long. We meet every Tuesday and Thursday on Zoom. Yeah, we finally switched over to Zoom. So 4:30 to 5:30, Tuesdays and Thursdays. That runs again about 5 weeks. And it's set up more like a college course. So all of the same curriculum, all of the same access, but in those online, like the portal, you'll have discussion board questions, like little prompts and small quizzes and tests to fill out, just to kind of make up for some of that lack of face time. But I will say with online and spouse, because again, we lack that FaceTime and we only meet twice a week, we highly, highly encourage our students to schedule time with myself, and Brianna is the other instructor for online and spouse. So we have a lot of meetings throughout those 5 weeks individually with students as well, whether it's, career coaching, they have questions about their future, or if it's just about the curriculum itself. So those are kind of two of our what does it look like when I'm a student. We do have a graduation for online and spouse, but it is online as well. I think we are currently in 36 states and I want to say 3 countries as far as, where our students are located.
Yes, that's a familiar thing here. Probably about the same. So like, when somebody comes through, it's like, what mindset changes do you see them making from the military structure to the flexibility of the civilian work or doing their own thing?
Yes, there are a lot of changes. And I will say one of the big things that we do focus on and we bring up often in class is the mindset change. A lot of our students will come in scared, stressed, not knowing what the heck is going on, and not knowing what they don't know. So, um, Oh, I am so sorry. I've lost my complete train of thought. Could you ask that question one more time?
Yeah, so the mindset changes, you see
Oh,
them.
yes, mindset.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, a
No
lot
worries.
of them just come in, scared, nervous. They haven't taken off their uniform in 10, 15, 20 years, and they don't know what to expect. So day one, I will say, is always a little bit of a curveball because it's like everybody comes in and they're really awkward and quiet. Nobody wants to talk to each other. By the end of it, that mindset, we are all besties. We it's like you are back in the military, but with a new mindset. So everybody kind of groups together, they all become friends. We try to replace some of that camaraderie you might lose when you leave the military. Um, but I will say there's a lot of confidence gained in our students. And that is one of the coolest things to see is, we have about a 2-week class for our in-person students. So you only see these people for 2 weeks. By the end of those 2 weeks, it's like, everything about their whole life story. Like they probably brought their wife or a kid in on a lunch and you got to meet them too. So I think once they kind of come through our class and they see like, oh, it's okay out here. Like it's not scary. Not our whole staff is not veterans. A good majority of us are. So I think being able to interact with our staff as well is just a way to kind of be like, oh, it's just people out here too. So I would say the confidence boost and just a little bit of that scariness kind of shifts away from our students. Now, just kind of a little bit more on the confidence part. And maybe it's not confidence, but I think our students become a lot more adept at asking for help.
That's a huge one, yeah.
I was going to say it might sound weird, um, but we see it a lot, especially with people who have been in the military a little bit longer, or maybe are a little bit older from a different generation. It's hard to ask for help, and it's hard to say, I don't know what I'm doing. So being able to take somebody from often being disgruntled because they are confused and because they are scared to, the end of class where they're excited for their networking opportunities. They're telling us, oh, I'm going to, Vets on Tap tonight or whatever that case may be, when they originally were like, I'm never going to do networking on day one. So I would say definitely some confidence growth is probably the biggest mindset shift.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So now they've gone from disgruntled to gruntled, if you will, and they got their mindset in gear. What are the practical first steps that you recommend when they're exploring career options?
Absolutely. So, this might be a little too in the weeds, but I'll tell you kind of my personal approach.
Yeah.
So, when we have the online students, because I am an online and military spouse instructor, we start early. So, as our students come through, I am asking you a whole bunch of questions. What do you want to do? What do you not want to do? We will sit down and have career kind of planning sessions. It gives me a little bit of an idea, and I'm able to help guide the students that may need a little bit more guidance onto maybe check out this company. It aligns with your values. How do I know, what company does align with my values? Kind of helping the research part. I think the research part is going to be the biggest, I guess, jumping off point. And it might sound silly because obviously you want to do your research first, but not everyone does. So I think starting out with research, and that can be hard when you don't know where to start, which is why I am here. Please feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Um,
No,
but
you're
no,
plugging. Hey, so like on the resource side, can you give us a rundown of Operation New Uniform and how it does that side of the house?
oh, yes. Honestly, that is me. So our students will work with the instructors. The instructors, we are also essentially your career counselors. So we are going to help guide our students through how to even start their research. So we'll talk to them and say, tell me some of the things that you're looking for. Tell me some of the things that are important to you and show them. I'll share my screen with my student that I'm chatting with, and we will go through, all right, let's start at this company of interest for you. What are you looking for in this company? Is it volunteer opportunities? Do you want them to have a veteran resource group? Are those things that are important to you? And we kind of start from there. So I would say basically all of that kind of research starts with the instructor student relationship.
So on the program side, what makes your career readiness training, like intake training, support phases, the big game changer that you found compared to other stuff, other programs, other thoughts, processes?
Yes. So I have not gone through another transition program. I have, of course, come through ONU. As an employee, we do have to go through the program itself. Um, sorry, the chat keeps popping up over here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was your question again? I'm very bad at chat. I'm
So
so bad at having the chat up. I'm just moving it.
hey, on the program side, what makes ONU's career readiness training, like the intake, the training, the support, what's special?
My favorite part is, and I touched on it earlier just a little bit, was our ongoing support. So, like I said, I have probably 4 to 5 students a week, graduates that I've talked to, they've graduated over the years. I think our personal touch is our biggest, I don't know, kind of sets us apart. We have we're lucky. There are about 10 employees in our organization, and one of them is our controller, so our accountant. And I think just the fact that, we do sit face to face with all of our students. We, get involved. We have them come back and do a lot of, if you're interested, our students will come back and do a lot of volunteer work, a lot of volunteer opportunities that also serve as networking opportunities. And I know I don't want to say this, but we treat our students like they're family. I know not everybody likes that F word, but we do treat them like family. If you have personal things going on, we want to know. We want to help. We have a ton of resources. So I think just kind of having that personal element is really what sets us apart. Now, of course, we have our Sandler training, which I can't go without saying our Sandler training. It is a proprietary training. And without Sandler, in their curriculum, we would not have a curriculum. So aside from our actual curriculum, I think it is that personal aspect.
Awesome. Hey, we got some questions. Clay, go ahead, sir.
I want to get into that without you sharing proprietary information. So could you give us maybe a 40,000 foot overview, 30,000 foot overview, 20,000 foot overview, just to gauge what not only the expectations, but the balance of asynchronous to synchronous learning and the functionality behind it.
Absolutely. So without giving away too much proprietary information, kind of what our curriculum does focus on is communication and relationship building. How do you do it? How do you maintain it? How do you start when you are at a networking event and you walk up to somebody and you don't know what to say? They don't have a uniform on anymore. There's no, well, hopefully they have a logo. They might not have a name tag or a rank tab, or, you just might not know who they are. Maybe they're, just strolling through. So I think our communication methodology is important. It teaches our students how to sell themselves, how to speak to an interviewer while interviewing them. A lot of people don't know that an interview is a two-way street. You are also interviewing that, organization to see, does this fit what I want? Does it fit my values? Does it fit what it is I'm actually looking to do? So kind of working on the psychology behind relationships to create effective and professional relationships. I think that's the best way I can say it without getting myself in trouble.
Yeah.
No, that was perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Ashley, go ahead, ma'am.
Right. So do you only have the spouses online? Because a lot of us are not in the Florida. So what do you have for us that are like getting out in like 4 months, 120 days or so, but are not located in Florida? Because I heard that you have the in-person, but what about the ones that are not located in Florida? Like what do you have available if we are interested?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. And you, I hope, will be excited because our spouse program is fully online. Now, one day we would love to have an in-person program, but right now, because a lot of our spouses are outside of the Jacksonville area, it is a completely online program for the military spouses.
No, what I meant was I'm not a spouse. So if I'm interested and I'm not in Florida.
Yep, there's also the fully online course for the veterans as well.
Cool. Hunter, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Miss Olivia. So what I guess companies or resources do you work with here in Jacksonville? I live down in Ponte Vedra,
Oh, yeah.
so I was just curious, like what around this area who do y'all work with?
The players. So I'm not sure.
I
I'm very new to golf, so I'm not sure how well known that is. But
I
what our CEO is actually one of the redcoats of the players, so we are involved with them. And then, your standard friends of the family, I like to say, so Wounded Warrior Project, Canines for Warriors, Cohen Veteran Network, and those are some of more of like our resource-based partnerships. You can also definitely see, I think, hopefully they're on our website, but some of the organizations that we are partnered with as far as employment opportunities are, we have organizations like Boeing, CSX, what's the one? American Roll On, Roll Off. I know I'm leaving out so many of them. I would take up the rest of this meeting if I were to name our partners, but we are kind of in what I like to call the veteran circuit. So at least here in Jacksonville, again, back with Wounded Warrior Project, Canines for Warriors, we are very involved with the city as well. So just a whole bunch of places. If you ever needed anything, I'm sure we have it in our back pocket.
oh absolutely. I actually live like a mile from the Canine for Warriors.
Oh, wow.
Literally
Yeah,
right down the street from me.
that's
I
awesome.
was just curious about that
Mhm.
because I know it's a fairly big city, and I just wanted to see what y'all have over here for the resources.
Oh yeah, it's a fairly big city, but whoever's in Jacksonville, it's oddly small for veterans as well. It starts getting smaller the more events you start going to, I promise.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So your work as a programmer, your work as a program coordinator,
Mhm.
how do you guide people towards a career field? Are you using like any sort of like standardized testing or disc assessment, Sandler, or anything like that, or is it just generic or not generic, but guided conversations?
It is a lot of guided conversation, yes. And now we don't make any decisions for our students.
Of
I
course.
can help guide you in the right direction, but I will never tell you what to do. But we do things like a disc assessment, and so glad that you brought that up. So the disc assessment is a personality assessment. I know a lot of us have probably done like a Myers-Briggs and things like that. I was a little apprehensive and judgmental about personality tests for a long time.
Uh-huh.
And then I took this disc assessment. And now, when I first started at ONU, again, I was 3 days out of the Navy. I got out on a Thursday. I started at work on Monday. My disc assessment has changed, which I find very interesting. So that's something that we kind of go through with our students as well as they'll say, this personality test has nothing to do with who I am. When I was in the military, I did XYZ. Um, so it's like, yeah, maybe you were very direct and firm and you were, the don't mess with that guy kind of guy, but maybe that wasn't who you actually were. That's who you had to be in that role. I know for myself personally, I am generally a pretty happy, bubbly person. Sometimes when you're in the military, you don't have the luxury of having that personality.
Nope.
There's safety issues, there's all sorts of things. So,
They
yeah, could I have turned it off and was I different then? Yes, but that wasn't who I was. That was exhausting. I don't like having to be, kind of,
knife handies.
thank you. I couldn't think of the socially appropriate word to use in that
Yeah,
situation.
it's rather than penisy, it's the knife hands. So, I mean, we had to take those, like when I got into recruiting, they made us take similar tests and you got like a 40, 50-page assessment back.
Yes.
And the first time I just was like, hey, I'm gonna try full narcissism just to mess with it. And then we ended up taking a year later. I was like, okay, I'll take it seriously. Then we took it like 7 years later, and you're right, I saw a difference.
Yes, it's very
And it was
interesting.
accurate.
Ooh, and yes, and that was why I loved the disc assessment specifically because same every time I've retaken it twice, and it has been pretty accurate every time, and you can kind of see the shift from each, where I was in life at that time. Um, so yes, disc assessments, and that's kind of again like I am an introvert. Don't tell anybody. So a lot of, outreach heavy events or a lot of face to face, people talking all day, that is going to exhaust me. And that is something I know from my DISC assessment and also my life experience. But so, if a student it comes up, and again, it's kind of that call center thing. If you tell me I really want to work at this call center and you hate phone calls, that's not your personality style at all. Maybe you're IT and you want to be, in the back room and not having to have community outreach meetings every day. That's fine. And we are going to help you get there. So we do put a lot of work into our, like you said, guided conversations. And then a lot of focus on kind of one of our things with our students is we will put in as much energy as you are putting in. I can't do the research for you, unfortunately, because I don't know what you want. So we kind of guide them into how to find their own answers, if that makes sense. Again, kind of going through, researching the companies, researching the positions. Even now, every now and then I'll be on, LinkedIn or I'm on a job board and I see a title for a position. And it's like 7 words long. None of them make sense. I don't even know what the position is. So helping our students kind of get through that as well.
Yeah, it's being an introverted extrovert can be exhausting. I get it. Clay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm actually master certified with DISC. So I just wanted to kind of follow up with you on that.
Yeah.
Is DISC sort of like the one standard? Or are you using Challenger? Are you using Hogan? Like, are you blending the certification processes and the analyses systems together? Or are you only relying on that? Not to sit there and push back on Smitty because he is a textbook individual of intellectual wealth. But from someone who's like me, who's been administering DISC assessments for decades,
Mhm.
yeah, there are visual changes that you see, but sometimes a lot of people are sort of like off baseline by like 5 or 10%. So
Mhm.
that's why, do you factor other assessments into your program or no?
At this time, no, we are just focusing on the DISC assessment. That is part of kind of the Sandler curriculum as well. So just because we work with them, we are just using the DISC assessment. However, we do always encourage our students to, check out other personality assessments as well. DISC is not the be all end all, but it is what we use in our program.
Yeah, when you have someone like me who has all three of the master certifications, I totally understand that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Goodness, that's a lot.
Yeah, Clay loves that stuff, man. He knows his stuff there. So I mean, how do you draw from your Navy experience in doing this work to connect and coach people? I mean, obviously speaking some of the same language, but the bubbliness might be a bit much for somebody coming out like, whoa, this is a lot at once. I mean,
Yeah,
how do you work with that?
it's funny that you say that because one of the things that I do is intake calls. So, if you were ever to be interested in our program, you would go to our website, click the apply button in the upper right hand side, and it will prompt you to schedule a phone conversation. And it will either be myself or my manager, Brianna. And in that phone conversation, you hear my personality. It comes through the phone very loud. So I will take a moment to assess who's on the other side of the phone. And if they are, maybe a more reserved, maybe a little bit more chill, maybe they don't like small talk, I will kind of adjust my approach for that person to make it, a little bit more comfortable for them. I know my personality can be a lot sometimes. Um, and like you said, it was interesting because I worked in the ordnance field. I had the same personality when I worked in the ordnance field. So I guess drawing from my military experience is I do speak the language, and that is on my side. So I would say probably one of the bigger things that I get to add here is I do have a background in psychology, trauma and crisis counseling to be exact, and I am a veteran. So I kind of understand a lot of the things that our students are feeling on the inside. Um, that I think understanding of what veterans go through, what they feel, some of the unspoken things that veterans feel that maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to everybody about. I somehow think my bubbly personality helps people want to talk to me. So it's really nice to kind of be able to, I don't know, I guess be an inviting person for your your feelings or whatever the case may be. So I haven't had to edit my personality too much. especially for some of those more salty veterans that are coming through. But
Yeah.
I do, I try to round my edges a little bit for certain people. But with
Oh,
my
I
name,
totally feel that. Yeah.
oh yeah,
I have to do the same.
yeah, I know I'm a lot. Sometimes I have to be a little quieter.
No,
But
nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I was just curious about your experiences because we know like 80% of the people coming out after 20 years got a little bit of curmudgeon in them, myself guilty.
oh yeah, and that's my favorite kind of person, and it has been my whole life. The grumpier you are, the more I want to be your friend, and I will not stop until I succeed. It's a talent, truly.
So, I mean, like in a role like yours, what skills or experiences make somebody a strong fit if, say, if they wanted to work with you guys?
Oh yeah. Well, unfortunately, right now we aren't hiring, but definitely keep an eye on our LinkedIn. I would say your heart has to be in it. At the end of the day, your heart has to be in it. We are a small nonprofit, so we are going a mile a minute all the time. There are, like I said, there's about 8 of us. So it's a small team. We wear many hats. So if you were to want to work at Operation New Uniform, um, just have your heart in it. Sometimes Excel spreadsheets can, drain your lifeblood. It's hard to go on after staring at them all day. Exactly. So being able to, have your heart in it. We all get along here really well, which is sometimes not always what you find in the workplace. And I think that has to do with the fact that our hearts are in it. Some of us are veterans, some of us are military spouses, some of us just support the community. So I think to do nonprofit work in general, your heart has to be in it. But to do veteran and military spouse nonprofit work, your heart better be in it.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of how it is here. Some days are great and some days are like, oh God, no.
The whole day is on fire. The whole
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, but I mean, doing this kind of work, you look at it and say, hey, I'm not going to get rich doing this, but not monetarily, but I'll find wealth elsewhere.
Oh yeah, it's so cool to see the not immediate, but the visual impact that you have in somebody's life to be like, oh wow, what I do is actually helping somebody. So I'd say, have a desire to have that, give back, to just kind of be in your community and be giving back to it.
So what would you say kind of like your biggest like there's no freaking way this dudette is gonna figure it out to holy cow, I can't believe how well they're killing it now.
Oh yeah, we've had a couple of those. Probably more than a couple of those. And it really has more to do with that person's level of confidence, how they see themselves. If, they come out and they say, I'm never going to be anything. My military experience didn't matter. Nobody's going to understand what I'm saying because they don't understand the military as a civilian. Oh boy. I'm like, all right, I'll write that name down because we have work to do. Um, so there have been a few that, again, it's that mindset change from the beginning of class to the end is, you get that grumpy person in, the salty, he's been in for 23 years, doesn't want to change, doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to be on LinkedIn, doesn't even want to text anybody. How do you get that person to adapt or to change or to learn something new? Especially when you have my personality, it's a challenge, but we get there. And then it's like by the end of class, they're bubbly, they're smiling. It's like you get to see kind of a whole, they're like, wait, I wasn't ever allowed to, have a feeling in the military or, whatever it was that was their experience. So we definitely have a handful. Now, I will say, in my experience here, we have never had a student fail the course.
Oh, good.
Yes. Now,
Well, I mean,
people have things and life comes up and, sometimes you have to drop a course, but I cannot say that we've ever had in my time here at ONU had anybody fail. It's just about growing because even when you graduate, we're going to keep growing with you. That's personally my favorite part.
awesome. Cody, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, yeah, I had to step away for a phone call real quick, but I didn't, so I don't know if I missed it. But do you guys also assist with like while they're going through the courses, like resume, like like if you have a specific thing that you're looking for, and then help you? And do you have like mentors and kind of different fields and stuff to help them figure out kind of the wording and stuff for those as well?
Yes, yes to all of it. So, again, when I'm in class and I have my, class full of 20 students, so my other instructor will have 10, I'll have the other 10. We highly encourage our students, send me your resume. Send me your resume and a job description that you're interested in. And we'll go, like, whether it's they come into the office because they're local, or we'll do a Teams call and we'll sit down and we'll go through that resume and the job description. I'll show you, hey, these keywords are important to have in your resume because they're in your job description. And we kind of go through that process. We also have a few human resource companies and resources that will help our students as well. So, if you couldn't get on my schedule for some reason, I'm always happy to, use one of our external resources. We do have a few volunteers that love to help with resumes as well. Many of them are our board members. So we do also touch on kind of all of those resume type things and how to do the edits and how to do the changes. So I'm not going to do it for you. I won't do it for our students. We're not going to type it up for you, but we are going to show you exactly how to do it and what you want to have in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
Hunter, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, kind of funny. It took me like 10 minutes of just looking around to put two and two together. You're talking about it's a small world. Miss Michelle, the CEO of ONU, is
Yes.
my fiance's grandma's best friend. And I've actually hung out with her a few times. And I've talked, this is all for y'all. It's actually this is a good place because I was sitting there in the living room talking with her. And she's like, well, when you start getting out, this is all that we do. And I remember like, damn, or excuse the language, but like this is actually really good what they do. Uh, so it just took me a lot of putting together right now. Small world, and it's actually a really good program.
Thank you very much, Hunter. Now, I will say one thing about ONU is it's on our business cards, it's on our walls. We are God, country, family. So, we aren't a faith-based organization, but we are a faith-forward organization. We care about families. We care about staff families. We care about student families. If you have to leave class because, your kid got sick at school, we're not going to fire you. Go ahead, go pick up your kid. We'll fill you in on the back end about, what you missed during class. In country, of course, because we are a veteran service organization. So, I know I'm biased because I work here, and you probably think I get paid to say this, but it's a pretty cool program, especially, yes, we give you all the skills and the training and the communication and all of the things, but we also give you a community. And I didn't think I was going to have any feelings about leaving the military and leaving, my division and my friends and my coworkers. Boy, did I. I was like, I'm never going to find that again. Well, there goes that. Like, I guess I'll go into the business world. And I found it again here at ONU, not just with our staff members who have probably all seen me cry in their office at least 4 times, but with our students too. We have each class will have a group chat. We leave it open forever. It's through the GroupMe app. I know some people use it, some people don't, but we keep it open. We want to talk to our students. We want to talk to our students from 10 years ago or 10 months ago or 10 weeks ago. So I think just having that kind of community is one of my most favorite factors.
Hey, so this is my last question. So do you see any like career niches or industries that you think should be on their radar down the road as kind of like, hey, there's some good growth and you're probably just as a veteran, not your personality, but probably a fit somewhere in there?
Kind of. I'm not sure if I'm understanding. Are you talking like industry trends of where I think veterans should go?
Yes. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Person aside, I think anything within the cyber, IT, AI, all of that world is going to be very important. Supply and logistics are always a very good field to get into. There will always be supply and logistics. But I would say that the biggest trend I'm seeing is the AI, is the IT, cybersecurity. That and then banking. if you're looking for a new career or a new role, look into the finance industry, look into banking. In those financial institutions, there's everything. You can, be in finances, you can be in IT, cybersecurity, physical security, a little bit of everything. So I would say definitely check out banking. Not that I think there's going to be necessarily a huge boom, but I do think it's just a successful area for people to research.
Got it. Hey, thank you very much, Olivia Fisher, ONU, for spending some time with us, dropping some knowledge. I appreciate it very much. And hopefully we'll see you again down the road.